the Urban Development Minister or the Minister for INB. Is one of the tallest leaders of the BJP, and I can't not start this interview with the biggest event of the day, and that is charging of criminal conspiracy charges against some of the tallest leaders. Thank you very, very much, Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, for joining us. I really have to begin talking to you about the criminal conspiracy charges that have been filed against some of your tallest leaders, 12 of them in all, but Mr. Advani, Mr. Joshi and Ms. Uma Bharti. How is the BJP responding to it?
See, it's a old case, and this conspiracy is not going to stand. So nothing to worry.
The BJP is not worried about it at all at this point in time.
Because, you know, they're all charges leveled, they're not going to stand.
Because some very damning charges have been leveled. Charges of criminal conspiracy, charges of abetting. I'm really trying to ask you, at this point in time, 3 years into your tenure, you're trying to build this narrative of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, being secular. What does this do to your secular credentials? Isn't this a big blow to the union government?
The question is, what is this secularism has caused to do with this? See, I am not able to understand, because this was a political case which was foisted on our leaders. I don't want to go in depth into that, because now that the court is hearing the case, I am sure our leaders, all important leaders, they'll come out without any problem. It will not stand scrutiny of the law. After trial, they'll come out with flying colors.
How confident are you of that? Because while the lower courts had quashed those charges, the Supreme Court kind of revived it, there will be an expedited trial. Are you at all worried that this could dent your secular credentials?
Not at all. Not at all. Our performance, our actions, they are viewed by the people, and then they are sure that our philosophy of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, that we don't discriminate on the basis of religion, and we don't get involved into communal activities. This has been proved beyond point. It's a, what do you call, tried and tired experiment to thaw us with this brush of so-called brush of secularism, communalism and all.
If I may ask you a frank question, you know, you've maintained probity in public life, you've upheld high standards. Do you not believe that, given the charges that have now been leveled against some of these leaders, and Ms. Uma Bharti is a sitting minister, or Mr. Kalyan Singh, who's also holding a constitutional position, shouldn't they resign?
Why should? You suppose your political rivals poise some case against you.
This is a judicial matter. This
so what? So what? Let the judiciary come to a conclusion. The lower court has really absolved them. If I go by your own this thing, then why should they resign at all?
But don't you believe public life and public probity demands?
Public life, your probity demands, if these charges are on your ethical or your moral turpitude, something like that, I can understand. This is a agitation, public agitation. It's a political case. Everybody knows it. It has been going on for last 20 years and nothing has happened. And our government, even at that time, led by Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, wherein Advani himself was the Home Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, we thought we should not withdraw it. That shows our standards. It had been other parties, they would have withdrawn these cases. We have not done it at that time, and we have not done it now also.
No, but the only reason, sir, I'm asking that question is that as a sitting minister, should you be facing charges of criminal conspiracy? Doesn't Caesar's wife have to be above suspicion of any kind?
Any charge can be leveled nowadays.
This isn't any charge. Ram Janmabhoomi is a big case. It really involves the conscience of this country, so to
what?
say.
Ram Janmabhoomi is very important to Indians, undoubtedly. So where is the conspiracy in this? I am not able to understand at all.
So you're saying that at this point in time, Ms. Uma Bharti will not resign as a minister?
Nobody need to resign.
Okay, if I may ask you, another conspiracy theory that's doing the rounds on this, and most political observers believe that this will be advantage BJP in the long term.
I don't agree with them.
Because you have a commitment to Ram Janmabhoomi, and here you will have martyrs if proven guilty.
I don't subscribe to that view at all.
Why do you say so?
The point is very simple. We are facing this case because it's politically foisted against us. Our commitment to Ram Mandir is known to one and all. So nothing new in this.
I'll tell you why I asked that question, that are you trying to get political mileage out of this? If it was such a bogus case like the BJP wants us to believe it is, Then why was this show of strength at display in Lucknow? Why was Yogi Adityanath, the two deputy chief ministers, the local BJP workers all there? Why were they all there?
The tall leaders of the party. The tall leaders of the party, and that too they are facing a political case. It's not about corruption. It's not about moral turpitude. It's not like a scandals.
But is this an opportunity that the BJP can leverage?
No, we don't want to use it for political.
So you don't think the show of strength was to get political brownie points
Not
out
at
of
all.
this? Okay, I'm going to ask you a very quick question. On the Mandir issue, when Times Now did a very exhaustive poll yesterday across the country, on the Mandir issue, you said your commitment is known to one and all. Are you willing to wait till this judicial process gets over, or is the BJP at one point in time getting impatient about the Mandir issue?
No, so of course the country itself is impatient, undoubtedly.
Are you impatient?
No, that's what I'm saying. I am ruling the country. I have to go by rule of law. And moreover, our stand has been from the day one, either it is through negotiation or through a judicial verdict. That's the only way. And the courts have been hearing this case for long. I hope that the case regarded to title will be decided at the earliest.
Will you be approaching the special bench at all to expedite this matter? Because your political adversaries say the BJP would want to leverage the Ram Mandir issue.
No, that's all. That's what
2019.
all political charge made by our political opponents. They tried, they failed. They failed once again. We are not going to do anything to leverage political mileage on account of this Mandir movement. It's a commitment of our stand on the birthplace of Lord Rama. Rama is not only seen as a god, but is an ideal ruler, and then ideal husband, then ideal human being.
I don't quite agree with the ideal husband.
People may have their own view.
Opinions.
See, Sri Ramachandra is a Pitru Vakya Paripalana, following the father.
Yes.
Eka Patni Vrata, that having committed to one wife. And also Adarsha Raja, ideal ruler. And above all, Adarsha Manav, one ideal human being. That's why people in this country, though Sri Krishna is more, people say lovable and all, as far as
he's called Maryada Purushottama for a reason.
Maryada Purushottama. That's why this respect, even I'll just conclude.
Yes.
Even Mahatma Gandhi, that's why he talked about Rama Rajya. He didn't talk about Krishna Rajya.
Not many people do.
Not to show any disrespect to Lord Krishna, because that's again philosophy. Rama is known as Maryada Purushottama, ideal ruler. That's why we all talk about Rama.
How confident is the BJP of a Ram temple in this tenure?
This has nothing to do with the tenure.
Okay, I'm going to turn focus and talk to you about something that's also keeping policymakers in states up at night, and that is the whole ban on cattle slaughter, whether it's Kerala or whether it's Mamata and West Bengal. They all believe you're encroaching on federal setup of this country.
There is no ban on cow slaughter, the cattle slaughter.
Yes.
There is no ban. Nothing has been imposed by this government. The people should understand, and I request all the channels and media people to be fair, to know the background. This was done in accordance with the public interest litigation, where the Honorable Supreme Court has given a directive, frame rules for cattle transport. And the standing committee, presided over by no less than person by Mr. Chidambaram, they have made some observations. Keeping that observation in mind, standing committee recommendation of the Home Ministry, as well as the Honorable Supreme Court's observation or directive, whatever then the Ministry has formulated certain guidelines, and then they have been put in public domain for more than a month on January 16th. And within 1 month, we have not received any responses which they are receiving now. After that, they have been notified. Now there are reactions, and today I have already said on record, the government is examining these reactions or these apprehensions and all. They will be addressed too.
So you're willing to review if the states do petition and the way they're crying for? You're willing to review your position?
The government is studying all these objections and apprehensions. And we are a sensitive government. We will address them effectively, and unnecessarily people are trying to link up with other issues. And then yesterday my opponents in the Congress and Communists, they went to streets, they slaughtered a cow and calf in Kerala, in public air, and then they have heard the sentiments of the people. At the end of the day, they were forced to retract, and the Congress was forced to
had to suspend the person also.
Suspend the person to wash off from the public anger.
Mr. Naidu, you are a very balanced politician and you've been in public life for decades now. What do you attribute this very polarized narrative to in this country right now? You can't deny there isn't a very polarized.
There is no
go to social media.
There is no polarization. Go to the social media. There is no polarization. There is a political polarization. People who want to go along with Modi, the mood of the nation, even according to your channel yesterday,
yes,
earlier other channels and also the media houses which went for survey, the mood of the nation at the end of the 3 years is go with Modi.
That's right.
My opponents are not able to digest the fact, and they could not digest that an ordinary person has become the Prime Minister of the country and is becoming strong and stronger day by day. That's why they are trying to find out various means and then try to give everything a communal color. Everything a communal color and then talk of polarization and all. This has led to their miserable defeat in the last elections. I advise them with my little experience, please do introspection. Don't get into this politics because Modi ji has really changed the political narrative from the casteist and communal politics to developmental politics.
You've been on record, and I will just turn focus and talk about Kashmir because you've been on record 2 days back to talk about no talks with separatists. If I may ask you, even in our poll it did say, has the communal divide in this country deepened? And to my surprise, a lot of people did think it has. I'm going to ask you a question about Kashmir. Is Kashmir something that worries New Delhi? Because Kashmir is perhaps seeing the worst law and order situation.
I don't agree with this worst law and order situation.
I know you will say it's 69 years of somebody else's rule and inherited.
Kashmir, unka den hai, Congress ka den hai. Can you deny that fact?
But
who ruled this country?
But why have you not been able to fix the problem?
Situation which is created over 60 years, do you expect us to solve it in 3 years? And it's a what you call delicate situation, sensitive situation where people are trying to link it with religion also. Second, it's a border state. Our neighbor, on the other side, is trying to aid, abet, fund and train terrorists and is sending them. And your number of channels have come out with sting operations while these patthar marne wale, people who are pelting stone, and this even the separatists, they are funded from across the border. It's very typical. And then there are emotions also attached to that. Keeping that in mind, my government is doing its best. I am asking Congress people, they are asking me yesterday, saying that finally tell me what is the way out and all. I am asking you out of your experience of 60 years, tell me what is the way out. We are trying every...
Are we going to keep suffering what the Congress did, the sins of the Congress in the valley, and will the BJP keep blaming the sins of the Congress?
I am not blaming, I am only reminding the congressmen. We are not waiting for their response. We are doing our best, and government is trying to take effective steps to control the situation. As I told you, it's a delicate and also it's a border state. It has a past history. Please wait. And then without even waiting for 5 years, 50 years you have ruled and ruined the country and the state, and now you are asking questions.
Sir,
my responses are not to Supriya, to Times Now. My responses are to my political opponents and critics.
I understand, sir. But if I may ask you a question, you got into an alliance with the PDP. The alliance paper did mention that you will talk to all stakeholders. Why the hesitation?
All stakeholders, whoever believes in the unity and integrity of the country, they are welcome. We are willing to talk to them.
So there will be no dialogue whatsoever with separatists?
Yeah, as long as there is violence, as long as you take to this course, nobody, you can't expect anybody to talk. No? Talks and terror cannot go together.
Can't go hand in hand.
One. Secondly, the unity and integrity of India, and integration of Kashmir with India is total and complete. There is no negotiation at all on that.
You know, in our polls yesterday, it was asked that is there a muscular policy towards Pakistan, and India was very happy the kind of stance that you've taken over Pakistan. You're not mollycoddling them, you're looking at them in the eye, and people believe there should be another surgical strike. Do we run the risk of an escalation at this stage?
We don't want to escalate at all. We want to control the situation. We are taking every effective steps to control the situation. We do not want any escalation of tension between Pakistan and India. At the same time, Pakistan should be exposed totally in the international this thing, particularly in the backdrop of how the Western countries also started suffering on account of terror. They are now realizing the pains of terror. So taking advantage of same, we must expose Pakistan and tell the world we are, see, our behavior is our testimony. The Prime Minister on day one, what he did he do? He invited the Pakistani Prime Minister.
Yes.
He came here. Then when he went to Kabul, when he called Prime Minister to greet him, and he requested, he went all the way to the Lahore and then attended a family function also. That shows our sincerity and commitment to have good relations with our neighbor, because they are our neighbor. If the neighbor continuously behave in such a manner, and now everybody is coming to the conclusion Pakistan is behaving like a rogue nation. First
I
of all,
agree
let
with
them
that.
reform.
Yes, and I think which is one of the points that the ICJ seems to have brought even in the Kulbhushan Jadhav case. The reason why I asked you that question, sir, is we are treading on very, very dangerous, choppy waters. 72% of our poll respondents said yesterday that there should be another surgical strike. Why I asked you that question was that is the BJP government or is the Prime Minister running the risk of playing to a domestic audience while engaging with Pakistan? Is he playing to the galleries? I'm using a very
Not
loose
at
term.
all. We know the sentiment of the people of the country. At the same time, what is required at what time, that will be done, that's being done.
Okay, a very quick question on Indian Army before I move on to your sector specifically and speak to you about. The Indian Army has done surgical strikes of this nature in the past, but is this a dangerous trend which we are seeing in which whatever the army does is becoming a matter of public debate, public discourse? Is the army being politicized?
It is unfortunate that sections of the opposition are trying to politicize the army.
Why are you making what the army does so public?
No, what is wrong? Whenever it is required, we must take the people into confidence. Because unnecessary false allegations are being made. That's why you have to make it public.
But doesn't the army have a moral obligation to stay away from the politics, which it hasn't been able to do?
No, it's totally wrong. The Indian army is apolitical. They are fighting for the country in adverse conditions and situations, and we must all stand by the Indian army. We feel proud of our army. That's why whenever somebody is criticizing, we are countering it effectively. Not for political reasons. They are trying to politicalize it. We feel that Indian army is always apolitical.
I want to take the focus away from politics and talk about economy at large. Many people believe that in the course of the last 3 years, your government, which was supposed to be this free market, free economy government, has turned a little populist. You've embraced leftist policies a little. What is that on account of? Do you believe that was the pragmatic way to be in Delhi?
Try to understand, left can never be right. Try to understand. So there is no question of our following leftism. Communism, socialism worldwide is a total failure. And even capitalism is not the answer. Realism, what suits India, when, depending on the situation and times. And we inherited what was the economic situation: fiscal deficit, revenue deficit, trade deficit, current account deficit, above all trust deficit. We have put back the economy, brought back the economy on rails, and then things are moving. International economy situation is slowing down. Your neighbor, which is a powerful economy, is also going little negative. India is the most favorable destination for investments, thanks to the leadership of Narendra Modi.
I think the news that has just come in and has been handed over to me is that the Madras High Court has put a stay on centre's slaughter ban, and the centre has to reply in 4 weeks.
There is no ban on slaughter. There
but
is not a regulation.
But the Madras High Court has put a ban on whatever.
Even I have said it today, even before the court order, that we have received representations 1 month and they were put in public domain. People have not objected to that.
Are you now willing to review?
Let us first read what is the order. Already in the morning itself, ma'am, before even the court said, we have received representations and then they are being studied.
Okay, you're willing to review. To come to your sector, sir, RERA, or the real estate regulator, was supposed to be this very game-changing regulation, at least for the consumer's point of view. But many states have not notified us, and there's a deadline that's right around the corner.
23 states have notified.
What about the rest? Are you willing to extend the deadline?
I will not extend at all under any circumstances. Okay. I am in touch with the states, and all the states have promised to me, but by July 1st, while this regulator and this registration of projects is going to come to this thing, everybody is going to fall in line because they are also under public pressure.
There is a certain clarity that I think real estate developers are seeking from you. They're also blaming you for escalation in costs and costs of operations. They believe that the clarity is needed if existing projects can be sold and marketed till such projects are not registered with the regulator. What is the position on that?
Every project is covered, including existing. The complaint is about most of the existing projects. What I am asking them is simple. Who has escalated the cost? Who have hiked the land prices? The land price in Vijayawada in Hyderabad is equivalent to Washington. Did the government do it? We have not done it. It is these people only. My point is, now there will be correction in the real estate sector, and then the regulation is not a strangulation. It is to regulate for a healthy this thing, and I am sure at the end of the day the prices will come down and the consumer will get benefited.
1.8 million houses by 2022 to achieve the Prime Minister's Housing for All dream. How has the private sector participation been? It's not very encouraging to begin with.
The private sector initially was a little skeptical. Now they have understood. Now they are all showing enthusiasm. And now series of steps have been taken by this government. One is FDI. Second is allowing the private sector to participate in a big way. Third is RERA. Fourth one is income tax exemptions. Fifth one is most attractive thing now is the Prime Minister's announcement on 31st December, wherein 6.5% of interest subvention for the poor and 3% and 4% for the middle class and upper middle class. That's really attracting. And then people also can construct houses directly without even the government's intervention, where the CLSS scheme is there. I am going to give them upfront 2,30,000 rupees. So people are coming forward. Now the private sector also has expressed certain apprehension. They are being addressed to. We are in talks with CREDAI. We are in talks with other real estate organizations also. And these problems and apprehensions raised by them are attended to.
Is land acquisition proving to be a bit of a handicap?
Of course, to some extent, yes. That's why we are eager to have a land acquisition project. I would land acquisition bill. So I would like to know from our critics, what is it happened all these years? There was a land acquisition law. During Congress regime, in Andhra Pradesh around more than 25 lakh acres have been acquired. You have given to people, private people, SEZ left and right. You cannot construct a house without land. You cannot construct an airport without land. If there is a model where you can construct an airport in the air, I will be happy to follow it. I want some the opposition
Mr. Naidu, did you give up on land acquisition?
There is no question of giving up. We must go by reality, ma'am. If majority of the states or political parties do not cooperate with you, you don't have majority in the upper house. What is the way out? Best thing is to refer it back to the states. And now the ball is in the court for the states, and states are now forced to take action to acquire the land in order to take up the developmental and infrastructure projects.
Mr. Naidu, I have two questions on the affordable housing scheme. Interest subvention was announced on the 31st of December. Has that found many takers? And the second question that a lot of people are asking is, has the definition of an affordable house outdated its relevance? Is it that redundant? Should that be reviewed and relooked at?
There is no need now. I think enough clarifications have been given. And moreover, there was a clamor or demand for infrastructure status to affordable housing. That has been agreed upon by the finance minister in the last budget.
That's right.
So people are happy about it.
So 3 years done, 2 more years to go. What is going to be your big priority? Smart cities, for instance. Are we finally going to see execution on that front?
Execution
was launched with a lot of fanfare.
Execution has already started. But you know that cities cannot be constructed overnight, or not in a year or two. It will take time. I am happy the Smart City project, the Amrut project, the Swachh Bharat project, and also the Housing for All, and my Hruday projects. There is a new urban renaissance that has taken place in the country, because everything is through competition now. Everything is through reform. And my Prime Minister has given us a mantra: reform, perform and transform. That transformation is taking place in every sector, including in urban sector.
So a quick last question, and that has to do with you a little bit and with your party, of course, a lot more. Reports do suggest that you already have the electoral college votes as far as the next presidential election is concerned. How confident are you of finally putting a politician in that place?
Whether I will go
of your choice.
Whether I will go for a politician or I will go for somebody else, that has to be seen. We have had to take a call on that. We have the numbers, and there are parties which are willing to support our proposal. I hope the opposition also will understand the reality. They will all join together so that we can have a good president who is acceptable by and large to the large section of the country.
So what you're essentially saying is it is not a given that the BJP will put a political man in that position.
We have not taken a stand on that. There is nothing political in this. You need a president who will go by the constitution.
Is Venkaiah Naidu in the race?
Not at all. I have been president earlier. I don't want to be the president again. I am not in the race also.
Thank you very much for speaking to us.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thanks very much.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow, and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/etnow.